Hi guys, my name is Christy and this is my Crafty Country. So today's video, I'm participating in the Napkin Challenge with some other crafters here on YouTube, and what we do is we just send napkins to each other, and every month there's different little challenges to it, and I will get into that here a little bit more in a little bit. But right now, let's see what napkins I got. I got my napkins from Cindy over at Z9 Designs, and I will link her channel below so you can go check her out, give her a subscribe, check out some of the crafts she does, because this is a good way for us to share each other's pages. That way, I have found so many different crafters just by doing these challenges that I had never heard of. So it's nice to kind of get our names out there. So I went ahead and took the bag out of the package, and she had a cute little card. I assume she made this card. It is adorable. So let's see what she had to say. Hi Christy, here are some napkins and goodies. I hope you can use. I would love to see what you come up with, Cindy. So, totally keeping the card, may even craft with it. And let's see what Cindy sent me. Okay, so here's a little package of goodies, and she sent me like 6 different napkins, I think is what we're supposed to do. Okay, so first we have fall napkins, which are adorable. Say thankful. I love the print, and she sent me a few, which is good because I've messed up some. I love this. This is pretty. These are good thick napkins too. These are like paper towel napkins. They're almost like fabric. She didn't play around. I love these. And the napkins with the truck, which I have some of these, and I have, somebody sent me these last month, which I loved them. And then I have the ones that have, I think, a blue truck. So I already got some ideas in my head of things I could do with those from when I got it last time, which is great because look how cute that is. What does this one say? Happy Harvest. And I think the other one that I have says something different. Ooh, now we get some Christmas, y'all. Okay, first thing, just some plain green. That would go great with this snowman napkin. I love the snowman. He's so cute. And I love the trim on it too. And this is pretty. Very pretty. Let me unfold that. Because does it have the snowflakes all around? How does that? Let's see what we're working with here. Oh yeah. It's got 6 of those, and then that entire bottom is that trim. So that'll be handy. Okay, I'll fold that up in a minute. And now we have a little bag of goodies, which are, I can already tell there's some fall, some Christmas. Looks like stickers and maybe rub-ons, I'm not sure. These are some little pumpkin stickers. I'm losing my stuff here. Oh, these are cool. These are those those gift tags, and some of them fell off. So if you use these, you need to use different, if you use them for gift tags, you need to put a piece of tape on the back because this adhesive has never worked all that well. We got this guy. The little penguin. The tree. Another one of him. Is that the same one? No, it's a different penguin. I mean, same penguin, but different design with him. And I'm losing my stuff here. Okay. Then we have some more stickers, which are so cute. Those are cute little shadow box stickers, is what I'm seeing there. Some gingerbread house candies. Love them. Ooh, look how pretty these are. So, it looks like we got some stickers out of her stash and some beautiful napkins. And now I'm going to jump into this. For my first DIY, I'm going to be using this Christmas sign that I found last year at Dollar General. And all I'm going to do here is tape off the H's. That way I can paint the O's. And then I will be covering the H's with some buffalo plaid napkins. So I just tape them off, and then I paint 2 of them green and 1 of them red, I believe. And I do 2 coats, letting it dry completely in between coats. The paint I'm using here is just some of the green acrylic paint and some of the crimson Waverly chalk paint. I'm not really sure on what the color on the green was, but it was just green acrylic paint that you can get at Dollar Tree, Dollar General, wherever. Now here I am filling in the holes on these ornaments, and I have 1 snowman and 1 Santa Claus. Now Santa Claus, I'm not going to use the whole ornament. Once it dries and I sand that whole, once I sand it flat, I am actually going to be cutting the hat off of Santa. So here I am just Mod Podging the H's, and I believe I go over the whole thing with Mod Podge. Yeah, that way if it goes shiny at all, the whole thing is shiny, not just the H's. So I cover those and let them dry completely before I go to putting the napkins on. So I'm going to use the iron-on method, so I just cut a piece that is just the right size I need and use a piece of parchment paper and iron it on, and just make sure your napkins are 1 ply, and that is the case in this whole video. If you use napkins, make them 1 ply. Now here I'm using strips off of the bottom of a Christmas napkin. That is why it's 2 separate pieces. So I just line those up to where the squares line up right and trim it down just the way I need it, and do the same iron-on method with a piece of parchment paper in between. Next, you can either use a fingernail file or a piece of sandpaper to sand the edges down, or you can just very carefully just light the edges and it will burn off completely flat for you. Now it's time to prep my little ornaments, so I just sand the spackle flat, and I forgot to mention earlier I did just use spackle to fill in the holes, let it dry completely, and then sand it flat before painting it. So here I've cut the hat off of Santa, and I'm just going to use that same Waverly crimson paint and paint my little hat and let it dry completely before moving on. So once my little hat is dry, I just use a little dot of hot glue and attach it to the first O. And then I didn't know how I was going to paint the brim of the hat and the little pom-pom at the end, so I ended up using a white paint pen. But here I'm just going to prep my snowman using some plaster Waverly chalk paint, and I think I ended up doing 2 coats on him before I went in and used Sharpies to draw in his little face and his hat and all the little extras. So now I come in with my Sharpies, and with his nose I started out just kind of drawing his little nose, and then I decided I didn't want it to be a profile, so I made his nose bigger. And then, see, here's where I hesitate. So I go in, I make the nose bigger, that way it can be a straight on smiley face of my little snowman. After my snowman's all painted up, I have to make some arms, and all I did was I peeled the stem part off of a couple of fall leaves and then trimmed them down to where they looked like little hands. Now these leaves did bend kind of weird, so I did heat them up with my heat gun, and then while they were kind of melted and hot, I pushed them flat. And I did do this, I have a silicone mat on my tray or on my table, so if you don't, you might do this on a piece of parchment paper, that way they don't melt to your surface. Once I get them all trimmed up, all I do is I hot glue them to the back, and then this little guy is ready to go on my sign. And I do just hot glue him to the last O in my ho 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 sign and cover up that green one. So now looking back, if I didn't want to paint that last one, I really didn't have to. But here I decided I wanted his little scarf to have a little bit more dimension, so I added some black stripes into it with my Sharpie. And then here at the end, somehow I missed it, but I did use one of the pine stems that you can get at Dollar Tree, and I twisted it in a circle and made a little wreath to go over that center O. So I will show that here at the end. So today's video is a napkin challenge collaboration with some of these lovely ladies here on YouTube, and it is hosted by Sarah over at Sunflowers and DIYing, and it is co-hosted by my girl Amy over at Bella's Bargains. So I will link both of their channels below and the playlist for all of the videos in this collaboration. So make sure you go check them out and show everybody some love and subscribe to their channels, because there really are some amazingly talented people in this group. So with that being said, let's jump back into the DIYing and get to DIY number 2. For this DIY, I'm going to be using one of the new Christmas ornaments that is like a galvanized bottle cap. And I'm also going to be using one of the bigger bottle cap ornaments that Dollar Tree's had for at least since last year. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to Mod Podge on the inside of both of these. And I think I did at least 2 coats on them. And then I let them dry completely in between. And then I'm going to be attaching some of these beautiful red snowflake napkins to the inside by using my heat tool. So I just cut out the section of napkin that I want to use, and then it doesn't matter if it's rough around the edges, because I'm going to fit it in there and then burn off the excess on the edges. So just get the print you want laid in there, and I used some parchment paper so I wouldn't burn through my napkin. And then I just heated the bottle cap, because these bottle caps, any metal, it's going to have that residual heat. So I just heated it up and then carefully kind of pushed it down, because that makes the Mod Podge like melt. So while it's still hot, I just push the napkin to it, and then I will be sealing it in with some clear enamel spray paint. But then I'm also going to be using some dishwasher safe Mod Podge over top of it. That way you could use it for candy and it would be food safe. So here I just use my lighter and I burn off the edges very carefully, and then I do the same thing with the smaller bottle cap. Now the bottom where it had the like snowman print on the other side, I didn't worry about taking it off. If that does bother you, just some warm water and some Goo Gone, you can probably scrub it right off. But you won't be able to see it, so I didn't even bother with it. So here, like I said, I'm just doing the same thing and heating it up, and then I will cut off some of the excess on the edge and then burn off all the little extra pieces. Now that everything is dry, I am going to be putting some glitter on these before I clear coat them. So I carefully just put a thick layer of Mod Podge all over this and put my white glitter that kind of looks like snow. I'm pretty sure I got this glitter at Walmart last year, but you can get it anywhere, any craft store or Walmart or Target. So I just covered the entire inside of the cap with Mod Podge and then glitter, and then I will go to spray it with the clear enamel before I use the dishwasher safe Mod Podge. Here you'll see I actually use my hand when I have a lot of glitter on there. I just kind of push it into the Mod Podge. That way I don't have any spaces that aren't covered. So I left the glitter kind of piled on there while it dried, and then once it was completely dry, I just tapped off the excess glitter on my tray, and that was when I did my clear coat. Now that they are completely sealed with clear enamel spray paint and liquid safe Mod or dishwasher safe Mod Podge, I used 4 or 5 of these little cubes to make a stand to make this like a tier tray candy dish. So once I super glued those together, I went in with the same crimson chalk paint and gave it 2 coats and let it dry completely before trying to attach it to the trays. Once everything was completely dry, I used a combination of the gel super glue and hot glue to attach my little stand to the inside of the big tray. So the super glue takes a little bit to set up, so I just used the hot glue to hold it in place until the super glue did its job and set. So then I just put some of that same glue on top of my little stand and glued my smaller tray to the top. And here is my cute little Christmas candy dish that is food safe. Like I said with the dishwasher safe Mod Podge, if I had just used a clear enamel, I would not want to put any candy loose on it, but this is good to go. For DIY number 3, I'm going to go a little bit fall on this one, and I am using one of these Dollar Tree coffee mugs. And it's not going to be used for a coffee mug once I'm done. It's just going to be like a little fake flower holder. So I am using just regular Mod Podge and covering the whole outside, and I used 2 coats and let it dry. Then I cut out one of these little orange trucks. I actually cut out 2 of them and did 1 on each side and slowly did the iron-on method with my heat gun and just heated it up and then pushed it down. And like I said before, make sure your napkin is 1 ply and you are using the parchment paper. My first thought was I was still going to use this as a coffee mug, so I was using the dishwasher safe Mod Podge, but I aborted that mission and things changed in the middle. So you don't really have to use the dishwasher safe unless you do want to use it for a coffee mug. And if you do want to use it like that, then you need to put quite a few coats of the dishwasher safe stuff on over the napkin. But here, if you're just going to use it as a flower holder like I am, then you can use any type, and I just did 2 coats over each napkin. But be very careful not to push too hard when applying it, because you don't want to rip your napkin once it gets wet. Now that it's all dry, I do want to glitter the handle, and this glitter I thought had more of an orangish look to it until I got it on there and it was kind of pinkish, but I'm going to roll with it anyway. So I just Mod Podged all around the handle and then just started applying the glitter, and I poured it over it at first and then used the glitter that was on the parchment paper to kind of press it into the areas that didn't have any. So once I got that done, I used the clear coat enamel and sprayed the handle, and that's why it was no longer food safe. So I just used some of my fall florals and put down in it. I didn't have foam or anything, just put some florals in it, and I thought it turned out terribly cute, even though it wasn't the idea I started with. Okay, so one of the requirements for this napkin challenge was to use a sunflower napkin. Well, I didn't have any, so I just used my Cricut and I made this sunflower tray for when I do craft shows. So I just did 2 sunflowers and then put the name of my channel, Crafty Country, in the center, and that was all that took. And I think it turned out really cute. I never really thought of what I could do with the plaid tray, but I loved the way this turned out. So I hope you guys enjoyed all of these DIYs. I want to say thank you to Sarah and Amy for letting me be part of this challenge. And I hope you go down below and check out their channels and subscribe to them. And make sure you check out the playlist that'll also be in the description. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks for stopping by.